On this pins, PINS, Jack makes a very good point, and I'm sure it's tongue-in-cheek as well, but it is a good point that he makes. Jack says, how many times at the $28 mark do you count before she made it? Basically, how many times does it have to test 28 to get through it before before it breaks out? So this is, and that's a very good point that he makes, that I paraphrase, because it's a point I bring up quite often, and it's about support and resistance. So the pins itself, it's a new issue, Pinterest. Did break out quite sharp and quite nicely here today. It's a new issue. It's been on this strong uptrend, and this was resistance here, 27.75, which was the line I have drawn in here. It did come through that 27.75 and then pulled back, and then went through it again. But this time at the whole dollar, it stalls, and there's obviously some big sellers at 28, shorts, whatever. The whole dollar tends to be an area of natural resistance. So it pops up against, finally it doesn't make it through it, and it pulls back. But we can see that on basically on this pullback in here, it was on, this whole thing actually was on very low volume comparatively, going through this area, and then it pulled back, had a little pop, kept trying again, pulled back, and then kept trying again. And so my point is that the more times you try to get through an area of resistance or hold support, the more likely it's going to do that. So we can see that this was forming this wedge formation. And as it got to the apex, then the big volume came in here. We had a bit of a stall here, and then the big volume again here. And that was the impetus that it needed to break through the $28 level. So two things are happening here. One, the more times it tries to get through an area of resistance or support, as the case may be, the more likely it is. And two, at the apex of these wedges, it's gonna go one way or the other. Seldom does it just continue to trade through here like this. Generally at the wedge, it's going to go one way or the other. And in this case, it would look to be to the upside, because it just tried so many times to get through, it couldn't. Eventually it has to get through, and sure enough it did. It popped 80 cents and traded to 28.80, now backing off a bit here, 28.40. But I just wanted to point out that chart pattern, because I think that's a very good chart pattern to watch.